who we are, who we were, and who we're destined to become are all reflections of the stories we tell, of gods and devils from tales of the heart to those of fear and foreboding. Stories shape us in the world we live in. Myths, folk tales, and even religious parables all define our cultures and beliefs. In each episode of Faith and Fear, we will dip our toes into the comparative narratives spanning the globe, considering the concepts and archetypes common to us all. And lay shalom and prazir. Hello and peace. It's a pleasure. Thanks for following me down the rabbit hole once again on my journey to better understand the stories and beliefs that shape us. Welcome back. As always, you've been missed. You are important. You are loved. Love does not dominate, it cultivates. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. First off, I want to thank you for joining me again and patiently waiting for new episodes. Life sometimes gets the best of us, but the important thing is, I'm back. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. Sorry, I had to. That chorus immediately pops in my head whenever I ask that question. Of course, some of you may be too young to get the reference, but I'm an 80s, 90s baby, so excuse my zennial dorkiness. Anyway, if you haven't already figured it out, this week we're going to be talking all about that four-letter word, love. But not love exclusively. I want to discuss everything tangentially related. Love languages, deities, gender, and yes, sexuality. There's a lot to cover, and I promise to be as interesting and informative as always. Also, some of the things I will be touching on in the next two episodes, namely parts of the gender and sexuality spectrums, as well as their representations in mythology and pre-Christian cultures, are out of my personal realm of experience, but I consider them extremely important and feel it's my duty to help spread relevant knowledge when possible. That said, if I get anything wrong or misinterpret certain aspects, please feel free to message me and I will do my best to clear things up. With all of that in mind, we're going to start off fairly slow, focusing on love and fertility deities. So, let's get started. The Merriam-Webster dictionary describes love as strong affection for another arising out of kinship or personal ties. Attraction based on sexual desire, affection, and tenderness felt by lovers. Affection based on admiration, benevolence, or common interests. An assurance of affection. I feel we can all agree that love means different things to different people. We all express this powerful emotion differently, some of us far more freely than others. But love is more than just an emotion. It is a force all its own and a means of communication, one that doesn't and shouldn't, at least not always, need words. Quoted from Psychology Today, according to author Gary Chapman, there are 5 love languages. Love languages are how we receive love from others. They are words of affirmation. This is verbal communication, saying encouraging and heartfelt things to one another. Acts of service. This is actively doing things for one another, showing as opposed to telling. Receiving gifts. This is, of course, essentially buying physical tokens meant to express one's affection. Technically, the gifts can be personally made, but in this context, I'm not sure if it's the thought that actually counts. Quality time. This is spending actual time with one another. The more meaningful that time, the better. It can be one-on-one intimate. By intimate, I don't mean sexual. Time meant to achieve a deeper connection. Physical touch. This does not necessarily mean sexual interaction either. Physical touch can include any form of physical affection: kissing, hugging, holding hands, spooning, back shoulder rubbing, and anything else that activates the physical sensation of touching. The important thing is that we all express and receive love differently. Theoretically, knowing your love language and learning the love language of those important to you can go a long way in achieving deeper connections and establishing stronger relationships. Now we're going to move on to love and fertility deities, which are not always synonymous. First, also known as Venus in the Roman pantheon, and probably one of the most well-known love goddesses, Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of both love and sexuality. Technically the aunt to Zeus and the other chief gods of Olympus, Aphrodite was born of the sea foam produced from Uranus's castration. Having many lovers, including the god of war, Ares, she was forced to marry Hephaestus, partially as a means to prevent the other gods from fighting over her. The term aphrodisiac receives its etymology from her name. The Greek Eros, more commonly known by his Roman name Cupid, is the god of lust and desire. Known for his matchmaking abilities, he would eventually fall victim to his own power, scratching himself with one of his own arrows and immediately falling in love with Psyche, against his mother's wishes. Cupid's appearance eventually evolved, or devolved rather, into what we know today as the bow-carrying winged cherub popularized by Valentine's Day. Not typically the best example considering her husband when most fans of mythology think about love. Ironically, the Greek Hera, Roman Juno, was the goddess of home and marriage, despite her man-whore of a husband Zeus. She is said to govern the hearth and family relationships. However, she spent much of her time dealing with her husband's many, often non-consensual, and I really want to emphasize this, lovers. Hera played a huge role in the Trojan War, as well as the tragedies and obstacles faced by Hercules. Often depicted as jealous and in a negative light, she was a constant witness to her husband's infidelities. Unable to punish him, she would target his typically unwilling partners instead. The queen of the Norse gods, wife of Odin, Frigga is the goddess of fertility and marriage. Also called the Queen of Heaven, she is sometimes perceived as a goddess of prophecy as well. From the Norse pantheon also comes the highly sought after Freya, goddess of love, magic, and divination. Said to ride atop a golden bristled boar, all manner of men from various species, human, dwarf, and giant alike, lusted after her. One tale tells of how she was able to obtain her necklace, Brisingamen, which appears in a number of stories, by sleeping with 4 dwarves. From Mesopotamia, and one of the oldest known pantheons, Inanna was the virgin goddess of love, fertility, and war. She was said to have driven a 7-lion chariot. Some stories have her giving herself to the mythological king, Dumuzi. From ancient Babylonia, Ishtar was worshipped as the goddess of both love and war. Dubbed the Cow of Sin, daughter of Anu and heir to the Sumerian goddess Inanna, Ishtar was far less discriminate with her partners and had a reputation for destroying each of her lovers. Another ancient goddess is the Semitic Astarte, who governs sexual love, maternity, and fertility. Associated with leopards and lions, her priestesses were believed to have been sacred prostitutes. The Egyptian Hathor was often depicted as a cow-headed goddess who ruled over fertility, love, and passion, as well as serving as the patroness of all wives. Capable of destroying all mankind, she is the wife of the sun god Ra, who was considered the supreme ruler of the Egyptian pantheon. Also from the Egyptian pantheon, Isis, child of the earth and sky, was the goddess of magic, fertility, and motherhood. Sister and wife to Osiris, it was she who searched for and reassembled the dismembered parts of her husband's body after he was murdered by their brother. She even took it upon herself to conceive an heir using her husband's corpse, giving birth to the god Horus. In Chinese mythology, Nugua was the mother goddess who populated the earth, creating humanity of yellow clay. Some stories depict her as having taught humanity how to procreate, so she would no longer have to mold them individually by hand. In Chinese mythology, the matchmaker god of heterosexual marriage, Yue Lao, is said to be tied to the red thread of destiny, and is able to bind two hearts together in love and marriage with a red silken cord. The most popular story associated with Yue Lao describes the quest of Wei Wu searching for a wife. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, so I'll leave you to look it up on your own, if it's something that sounds like it interests you. Also from Chinese mythology, Er Shen was the god said to govern homosexual love and marriage. But for now, I'm not going to elaborate any further, as I want to leave going more in depth with his story for next week. The Japanese goddess said to rule over everything which flows, Benzai-Ten is one of the 7 gods of fortune, governing love, music, knowledge, and art. She is the patroness of all musicians and dancers, and is said to have descended from her home in the clouds to save the children of a tiny village from being eaten by a dragon, oddly enough by marrying him. In Hinduism, Parvati is the benevolent goddess of love and devotion. Mother of the universe, consort of the god Shiva, Parvati embodies one of the many powerful forms of the feminine forces known as Shakti. As his Shakti, Parvati serves as Shiva's power, and it is believed that it was she who taught him to embrace pleasure, bringing a sense of balance to his previous destructive nature. She completes him. The Hindu god of love and desire is known as Kama, or Kamadeva. Described as a young man riding atop an elephant or parrot, he carries a bow made of sugarcane, which he uses to promote all forms of sexual love alongside his partner Rati. Considered a very open-minded deity, Kama literally means love or desire. Rati, the partner of Kama, is the Hindu goddess of lust and carnal desire. She rules over passion, pleasure, and sensuality. The two are often depicted together in both stories and temple art. Together, Kama and Rati are the inspirational sources of the Kama Sutra, the manual of sexuality and emotional fulfillment. The Queen of Banshees, Cliodhna, was the Celtic goddess of love and beauty. Devoutly chaste, she remained so until meeting the mortal Chiaban, even leaving the realm of the gods to be with him. Unfortunately, she was lulled to sleep by the other gods while waiting for Chiaban on the seashore. Swept up by a wave, she remains there at the bottom of the sea. The Celtic Welsh daughter of the year, Branwen, is the goddess of love and beauty, her name meaning white raven. An aspect of the triple goddess of Avalon, Branwen represents the maiden or young lady. One of her roles is believed to give her the power to free wives from husbands who abuse them, giving the women a chance at a new life. A well-known story of Branwen involves her involvement leading to the war between Ireland and Wales. Out of the West African Ifa and Yoruba religions, Oshun is the celebrated Orisha, goddess of beauty, love, fertility, and feminine sexuality. She guards against diseases and is considered a protector of women and children, especially during childbirth. She is usually described wearing beautiful jewelry and sometimes even appearing as a mermaid. A symbol of purity who is associated with fresh water, she was the only female primordial sent to establish the world, the other gods failing in their tasks, unable to succeed without her help. The Erzulie are a family of Loa, Haitian spirits associated with love, romance, beauty, and femininity. Some of these include Erzulie Frigga, the flirty aspect of love, Erzulie Dantor, the darker side of love, Erzulie Gerouge, who deals with unfaithful lovers, Erzulie Toho, who deals with jealous love, Erzulie Mansour, who deals with maternal love and protecting children from harm, Granny Erzulie, who represents grandmotherly kindness and love, Erzulie Mampiang, who deals with childbirth and the protection of babies. The Aztec maiden goddess Xochiquetzal governed fertility, beauty, and feminine sexual power. Birds and butterflies fluttered in her wake, and she was associated with vibrant flowers and women's crafts. She also served as the protector of young mothers and pregnant women. Described as a seductive young woman dressed in beautiful clothing, she is symbolic of human lust. This is an interesting topic and one that affects all of us in a vast number of ways. Love is many things. It takes on many shapes and forms. There's intimate love, platonic love, familial love, love that lasts for decades, and love that lasts for weeks, days, moments. But they are all equally love and crucial to a fulfilled life. Our definitions of what love means to us individually and how we express it to those within our circle perhaps determines how truly fulfilled our life is. So tell those who matter you love them, your friends, family, because tomorrow is never promised. Embrace love in all of its forms. I love each and every one of you and am grateful for your supporting me and this podcast. Next week, I will be stepping into a somewhat less familiar territory, but one I feel is very important and worth discussing. What is the difference between gender and sexuality? The concept of there being more than two simple binary genders is not a new one, and the fluid spectrum of sexuality has permeated just about every culture since the dawn of humanity. I will be doing my best to explain a few of these topics that some may be slightly confused about. But for now, Assalamu alaikum and Namaste. Peace be with you until we meet again. Thanks for listening to me as I've nerded out about stories and beliefs. Join me next week as I journey down the rabbit hole once again by subscribing and listening wherever podcasts are available. Leave me a comment on iTunes. 5-star reviews are always great and help others find the podcast. Also, you can email me at faithandfearpodcast@gmail.com. And lastly, share with others you feel may enjoy or get something out of these conversations. Who knows? Maybe then we'll be one step closer to glimpsing the true nature of faith and fear. Music brought to you from Pixabay.